What does August 3rd mean to you?
So I had just finished attending my orientation for the University of Texas at El Paso. It was such a beautiful city there. The weather is so beautiful. The mountains overlooking our campus, it's so mesmerizing. It's unlike anything I've seen coming from, industrial city like Houston. And I was in my mother's room talking to her when the news came on of what was going on in El Paso on August 3rd, 2019. And I was just absolutely devastated for this community which I was about to call home for the next year. I returned to El Paso for my fall semester about 3 weeks after the terrorist attack on the community. And I was so moved by the resolve and the spirit of the community that was unbroken, that was unwavering in the face of this horrific act.
Right.
When I attended the memorial, that had the makeshift memorial that had been put there, just flowers upon flowers upon banners and artifacts of just the entire community coming out to show their support. El Paso Strong was everywhere, and it wasn't just a slogan that was made up by a think tank. It was people really saying that we're our neighbors. You guys are our neighbors. We are El Pasoans. We're in this together. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna show not only Texas but the country and the entire world what this community uh, is made of and what our values are, and that no matter what happens to us, that we're going to stick together. We're going to stand up and fight against bigotry. We're going to fight against the erasure of our identities throughout all aspects of American life, and lead the way. And I was so proud to call myself an El Pasoan for the year. And I will always, even though I'm no longer a student there, I would always consider myself an adopted El Pasoan until the day that I die.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. I think all of us Latinos will always remember the place where we were, the time of the day where we heard about what was going on in El Paso, and I really hope that none of us ever forget about what happened there, because I think so much of our history gets lost as time goes on. There are so many tragedies that happened before that we aren't aware of. And one thing that really scares me is that 100 years from now, people won't remember what happened in El Paso, Texas. And when I was growing up, I remember there were two cultures. There was a culture that I felt like I was a part of, the culture that was around me, and then the broader American culture where I didn't see myself reflected in that culture because I didn't read about our history in the history textbooks. I didn't see people that looked like me, that looked like you on television shows or on movies that I went to go watch on the rare occasion that we went to the movies. And I'm just wondering, for you as a Latino man, how does our continued invisibility in every area of American life, and particularly in Hollywood, how does that affect you? And do you think that there is a connection between what happened in El Paso and the lack of representation and the way in which we are so often stereotyped in Hollywood?
Thank you for the question. It's such a well, growing up. Again, when going to the movies was a luxury, really for low income family. That was when we every couple of months, like we have enough money to be able to take the entire family to go, spend the evening to watch a film, and not seeing anybody that looked like me or talked like me or spoke my family's native language really affected me. Just kind of seeing, and even when particularly Hollywood would make adaptation, it's always either something that is whitewashed, like Dia de los Muertos. There's more to Hispanic culture. There's more to Latin culture than just Day of the Dead.
Right.
There's more to Hispanic culture than just Cinco de Mayo, which is not celebrated uh,
Right.
that much in Mexico, and then, in the town of Puebla, really only in that town of Puebla, and not as much in the U.S. And people don't even know what it's for, but they consider it a day to wear sombreros and
Mhm.
ponchos and drink tequila, and that's if that's the stereotypes, and it hurts. It hurts. It hurts me. It hurts the community, and it hurts the overall uh, the Hispanic community overall, because it doesn't humanize us at all. It makes us out to be cartoons and not people, and a caricature when we're actually humans with a deep, rich culture rooted in our country here,
Right.
and I really hope that more people do take action to show that, hey, we are a huge part of this community. We deserve to have our stories told, and we deserve to have the equal opportunities that anybody else has in this country. And to be able to show little kids that, hey, yeah, just because you're brown doesn't mean that you can't be an actor, or you can't be an actress in a TV show, or you can't make it big. That they think that, oh well, I don't see myself there, so they'll never, if they can't see themselves in that position, they're never going to get there, because they're conformed at a young age that, like, oh well, you have to look like white to be in a big Hollywood movie. You have to look a
Mm.
certain way. You have to speak a certain way. You can't have an accent to be a big Hollywood movie star. They see that, and that's ingrained in them, and they'll never try. And that definitely has to be changed in the way that we move forward past uh, as a country, to make sure that Hollywood and on a whole America is more representative when it comes to the Hispanic community.
Thank you. I think you're absolutely right, and I'm so glad to hear you just touching so many points that like are on my mind. I feel like you're speaking for so many of us that have felt the exact same way, and like you said, for people that are even younger than me, like you are, and younger than you. I remember like one of the biggest things that my mom taught me when I was young. She always used to tell me that her job was to make my life better, and that my job one day was going to be to make other people's lives better, the people that came after me. She constantly told me that it's not just about me, it's the people that come after me. And I'm wondering, what would you say to the younger generation trying to become more involved in their community, in national politics, even as you have become, or even just in their own schools? What advice do you have for people, for younger people that want to get involved, that want to change a lot of the things that we're talking about?
So it starts off with just having the courage to throw yourself in there, and then not be afraid of what people are going to say, or people are going to think about you. I started my journey into politics when I was 14 years old. I started organizing in my school first, and then started branching out to the community. From there, I moved my way up to the state level, and then now being in the position that I'm in at only 19 years old, to say that I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and not even being legal drinking age. I just throwing yourself into that, and embracing it, and being involved is the only way that our community is going to see change, because it's never going to be handed to us at all. The We can't rely on a savior to come help us and do it. You have to see, the Hispanic community needs to step up to that plate, and advocate for equal representation all across the board, to advocate for the policies that are going to directly impact and benefit your community. And you just can't be afraid. It's timid to stand up in a room where people who don't look like you, who don't talk like you, who don't have the same upbringing that you do, and you're trying to become to a breakout voice within that group. It's very hard, and it's it's scary. It is. And but don't let that scare you away. It's because eventually you're going to see more faces, and you're going to be you're going to be an example, because then people are going to see you doing that, like, hey, you're doing it, why can't I do it? I can do it. If they're doing it, and the numbers will grow, and the room will become uh, more equitable to all people in this country. And just part of it is it's a long struggle, and I'm not going to change anything by myself. No person can change something by themselves so radically and so drastically. It takes a group commitment, and we're going to have to come to the realization that some of the things we're doing, we're not going to directly see the benefits of. Your mother's, it sounds like a wise woman, as most Hispanic moms are, and it's just one day we're going to start planting the seeds of trees that whose shade we'll never sit in. But we're making sure that our future generations are going to have better access to everything uh, available to them than we did and that our ancestors did, and to the point where everything in America is truly equal for every single person here. And that just starts with somebody deciding to get involved. So please just get involved in your community. Start off at the local level. You will move up, you will gain experience, you'll become more confident in yourself and your abilities. And as a result of that, you're going to inspire others to get involved as well.
I don't really have anything more to add to that. That was really amazing, and I am just I am really inspired by you. I'm really inspired by your generation. I'm inspired by everything you're doing. At 19 years old, like you said, you are already so wise and have so much to offer us. And so I thank you so much for sharing this with us, Stephen.
Thank you for letting me use your platform.